There's Mount Foraker. That mountain's 17,000 feet. And we're getting close to the top from this side. You can see there's a cloud layer at about 14. Just under 14. There's Mount Hunter there. So after that, I ascended what's called the head wall. It's about 1,000 foot, 55-degree pitch, and real icy. And then I got up to the West Buttress Ridge, and it's a half-a-mile drop on both sides of this ridge. And the ridge, I'm standing on the last piece that's about 18 inches wide. And from here I had to get down on the side of the ridge because it got too narrow. It only got to 6 inches. 6 inches wide, and then when I got up to that part, I front point, and then I use a double ice axe technique where I plunge both these ice axes into the side of the mountain, front point, and when I move, I'll move the axe like this, and then move, and then front point over. I always have 3 points of contact on the mountain, either one of my boots and 2 of these, or 2 boots and 1 of these, and I'm just working my way across. If it's real windy, and I need support because I'm getting older now. I have this little cane that comes out of my ice axe that keeps me balanced on the ridges, and then I put a lanyard on my ice axe, so because you don't want to lose these, otherwise you won't survive a climb down. So you can't lose those things. It's the 21st of January. I'm at 17,200 feet. I just went and picked up a can of gas and some supplies that I buried in some rocks here 3/4 of a year ago, last June. And not that I needed them so much, it's just that I have plenty of food. It's the gas that will be nice, because now I can burn as much gas as I want, dry out everything, and I can take some gas down with me now. I'm standing up here at the 7,200 camp. You can kind of see where I'm at here. That's the West Buttress Ridge. Look down there. There's Mount Foraker, 17,000 feet. The glacier's below. The glacier way down there is 14.2. That's where my other camp is, down there. So at 17,200 feet, I needed a perfect weather window to get to the summit, and I would make that summit push in one 13-hour period round trip. So I'm waiting in my snow cave at 17,000 feet. This is kind of what it looks like. I got a little candle lantern there with a little beeswax candle in it, and my little stove, and I got my door plugged with stuffed sacks, and that's where I stayed. And I stayed in my snow cave there for 6 days waiting for a weather window at the summit. Well, you can only stay at 17.2 for so many days, and then you got to make a decision to come down, which I had to make, because just running short on supplies, plus your body gets really lethargic. You lose a lot of muscle mass laying there at 17,000 feet because you only breathe in about 50% oxygen. And so I had to make the decision to go back down before I got too weak, because coming back down, climbing down's 3 times more dangerous than climbing up. And so I had to have some wits about me to get back down that West Buttress. So after 6+ days, I can't remember how many days it was, but I think it was 6. I climbed back down the mountain and got out of there. So I was on the mountain for 22 days and got back to Talkeetna. So all my equipment really worked good. I have got a good system down and stuff. It just never gave me a 13-hour window in those days to go up there. And if you go up there and get caught, you will perish. It's not maybe that you won't survive the climb. So you just have to be. It has to be very good because there's lots of points of no return on that last ridge route. So. Anyways, I'm going back next January, and I'm going back next January, and we'll see. Maybe the weather will be better for the next round. So I'll open this up for questions.
Up until that point, when you were going to make the final ascent, could you have been rescued?
No, you can't get rescued. You could get rescued. You could get. You could get rescued at 14,200 feet by helicopter
If the weather's nice.
if the weather's good, and it's a very dangerous undertaking. But that's it. But once you're up at 17, once you go above 14,200 feet, you're on your own pretty much. And there's a lot of other places on the mountain you're on your own too until you get to 14. Like from about 10,000 feet to 14, you're on your own too. There's just some spots in there. Yes, way in the back.
How much fun are you having? I can imagine part of it's really fun.
Well, you know, when you see beautiful views like that, the moon and the beautiful colors you see, only during times of extreme cold, and at that time of year you see magentas and pinks and stuff on the sunsets and sunrises. It's gorgeous. And just being in that Alaska mountain range is beautiful at that time of year. And I enjoy the planning of it because, of course, success is in the details, of course, on many levels. So I really concentrate hard on you know, I've talked to all the people that are still alive that have been through Denali in the winter. And so I do my homework, yeah.
Yeah, about 25 years ago, a Japanese explorer named Naomi worked out of Ely and trained for this same trip. Was that the same month and the same route?
No one's gone up at Solo in January. He went up in March, I believe, and he perished on his way down. And I'm almost positive he perished on the descent down Denali Pass, that route I was telling you about. But actually, he made it to the summit because airplanes seen him on the summit. But then he never made it back down to 17,000 camp and fell off Denali Pass. But he was an inspiration. He's been an inspiration to me, not just from his mountaineering exploits, but his polar exploits too. Yeah, yes.
Are you the rate of your ascent and descents? Are they similar? Do you camp at the same camps on the way down? Or is your timing similar?
Right.
Going up is down?
No, I can go down in 3 days, but it might take a month to get to the summit. It depends on the weather too. But even though I'm being very careful on my way down, as you're descending, you're gaining more oxygen. So you go from 48% oxygen at the very peak, you know, all the way down to 7,800. I can go pretty quick. The problem is all your toes get banged up from going down such steep slope for such a long time, so you lose all your toenails going down. But so it just depends too. And I use my snow caves on the way back down, which are lifesavers because I don't have to worry about setting up a tent or building another cave. I just block them up real good, wand them real good, and then I leave a little food and fuel in there. So as I go up, I lighten my loads by putting depots in my thing. Yes?
Well, just before I ask you my two things, when you're going down, are you going down forward or backwards?
Forward, always.
Forward.
Yep, forward. You can climb up a tree, but you know you can not always get down. You know, it's like that whole cat climbed up the telephone pole and can't get down. It's kind of the same. It's the same. You gotta see where your footing is, and you plunge. What we call plunge stepping. Your foot is at a pretty good angle, and then you're using your ice axe, you know, as a balance, and you're going down. Sometimes you can't, it's so steep. And it's so steep you got to turn around, but at that point I put in an anchor and I rappel down, because I carry a rope up with me that I can use to descend the most dangerous parts. So what I'll do is I'll take a 300-foot line, fold it in half, put it through my anchor, descend, then I pull half the rope. I pull the rope back to me, put in another anchor.
And then do you turn that ladder around then when you're going down? With you're dragging something back there, do you turn it around?
Well, no, I keep the ladder, you know, just like it is, but sometimes it's so steep that I leave it kind of loose so that my ladder can go down the slope to my side without dragging me off, you know, without twisting me and dragging me off my feet. And my ladder only goes up, my ladder only goes to 14,000 feet with my sled. From 14,000 feet up to the summit, I just have a backpack.
Because you don't have to worry about those.
Well, it's too steep for, too heavy, too steep for ladders. I mean, we're really steep pitch. It's like a 12-12 roof, you know, except for steeper in some places. But, yes.
Oh, go ahead.
What I really wanted to ask you though was, the two things whenever I see these kind of conditions that people put themselves in, I know that the thing I envy you is what you're talking about, what you see, you know, that you see from up there, that, you know, none of us will have that experience. But the other thing I wonder about is your state of mind when you're like 6 days in there. I'm just curious about what you're thinking about when you're in that situation.
But yeah, you got 6 days, you're in basically a little snow trench for 6 days, and so I try to figure out how I can burn up time. And so I sleep as long as I can in my sleep bag, maybe 14 hours, rolling around there. Then I'll get up and I'll melt snow into drinking water. I'll repair equipment. I'll you know, sew holes in my clothing. I'll just fiddle around until I can use up as much time as possible.
But say when you're out there and you're in that, you know, those really rough situations where you're physically just exhausted, everything hurts, and you've got, you know, the snow stuff all around, you're dragging the weight. I mean, what are you thinking about then?
Try not to.
Be honest.
Isn't this cool? I don't know.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, you know, I don't know. I'm probably designing the next cabin I want to build up. And, you know, I'm always, my head's always spinning with something, this new project. Yes, way in the back.
What was the temperature in that trench, and how did you keep yourself warm if you're just lying there?
Yeah, that was very hard to do because also you have less oxygen. You need oxygen to, you know, keep the blood going. And I took an aspirin a day to keep the blood thinned out so it keeps moving because it gets really thick up high. And I think the temperature outside was about 35 below, but it was windy. And inside the trench was about 5 below, only because I had a few holes I couldn't plug, kind of like that. Otherwise it would have warmed up a little more. But yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult. I had to I couldn't lay on my back or on my stomach because I needed one leg laid over the other one to keep the bottom one warm. Yeah. Yeah. I had to lay on my sides. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
Do any of your children show an interest in following in your footsteps?
No, actually, they don't, which is probably a good thing. I took my boy dog sledding years ago, and I got his feet a little cold, you know, poor guy. So, you know, I kind of ruined him on the whole cold weather thing. So I spent several hours with a little frozen feet on my chest, trying to tell him this isn't how it usually is, you know.